We are studying structures in C. Let us today see how we can use a concept called array of structures. So topic is array of structures. So we start writing code. We create a structure. For example, struct, let us say the structure we name as student. It is a structure related to information of a student. So for example, we have the roll number of student, and we can have the name of the student. Okay, let us say at a max it can be 50 or 50 size. Name will be obviously a string, so I take a character array. And let us say we can have other values also. For example, we can have a float marks of student. Fine, done. So this is a structure. Put a semicolon here. The structure is named student. Now let us go to main, and in main let us create a variable, fine, of this structure, this data type, this struct student type. So struct student type, we create a variable. So for example, we can create a variable by the name of s1. Fine, then we can store values in s1. We can say s1 dot roll number is 1, s1 dot name is this thing, and s1 dot marks is this. Fine, but this won't solve our problem. We have a number of students in the class, and we need to store the information of all students. So one way is that I will write s1 comma s2 comma s3 and so on up to, for example, if we have 60 students, up to s60. So obviously this is not a good way. It is better to use an array here. So instead of this thing, we can use an array. So this array will be called an array of structures. Fine. So then we can say that I create an array of 60. Fine. So what will be the names of these variables then? The first will be s of 0, then s of 1, s of 2, up to s of 59. Fine. So if I want to store the roll number of first, I will write s of 0 is equal to 1. S of 0, sorry, s of 0 dot roll number is equivalent to 1. S of 0 dot name is equivalent to this. S of 0 dot marks is equivalent to this. So the first student thing is done. Then the second student, I can say s1 dot roll number is equal to this. This way, various uh, these will be created variables for, and for every there will be a structure there for every student. So let us take the values from the user. So let us ask the user, will say print f, fine, enter roll number, enter roll number, enter roll number, name and marks of student, fine. So it will give us the roll number, name and marks of one student. And since we have to do this thing for many students, for 60 say, so I should obviously use a for loop here to repeat things. So I can write for I equal to 0, right, because we are dealing with arrays, and I less than 60, I plus, fine. So it will be like this. It should be inside for loop here. Okay. So let me take the values of student one by one. So I can write here percentage D, fine, comma, then this I. So it will ask the user enter roll number, name, and marks of student 0, of student 1. So to make it user friendly, we should write +1 here, because the user won't understand starting from 0. So first we will tell him enter the roll number of student 1, then student 2, then student 3, fine, like that. So when he gives us the marks and these three things, we will store them, fine. So but for storing, we can use a scanf function here. So first we need a roll number, sorry, percentage D for roll number, then a percentage S for name, and a percentage F for this thing, marks, fine. And this will be stored in, roll number will be stored in S of I, fine, dot roll number, fine. So when he gives the roll number, it will be stored in, since this is the roll number of first student, the first student is represented by S of 0. I is 0 here, fine. So S of 0 dot roll number, the roll number of the first student will become this, name of first student will become this, and marks will become this. When the loop iterates, it will become, I will become 1. So it will be S of 1 dot roll number, S of 1 dot name and marks, fine. So we need three things here, comma, then it will be and S of 1, sorry, S of I dot name, comma, S of I dot marks with an ampersand here, fine. So it will be stored. This loop will run from 0 to 59. So all this will run from 0 to 59, and all things will be stored in here. So all this structure will be used to store all the three details of all 60 students, fine. So this is done. Now if you want to display the contents of the structure, we may use a printing function here. So I have used scanf for a string here for taking the name. Um, for simplification purposes, you can also use fgets or any other way to take. That is a better way, using fgets to take the name here. So for simplicity, let it be like this. And let us say we have only 4 students, because we have to manually enter things. We won't enter 60 things. Let us say we have only 4 students, fine. So now we want to display the same. So for displaying, very simple, we will again use a loop, I equal to 0, I same less than 4, I plus plus, fine. So this can be improved upon if we don't know the number of students in the class. Even we can take this from the user. We can tell the user that printf uh, how many students are in the class, fine. How many students are in the class, and he will give an answer. We will scan that answer, and we will put that in percentage like this, and we can say ampersand n. N means the number of students in the class. Fine. So we don't need to suppose things. We will ask the this user how many students are in the class. That will be n. Fine. And then we can just, this is okay. Fine. And the loop obviously will not run, should not run from, should run from 0 to n now. Fine. 0 to less than n, 0 to less than n. Okay, we have used n here, I here, so should declare it here, n comma I. Done. So let us now print the things. So how to print? So just write printf percentage, yeah, as a roll number, roll number is equivalent to roll number is equivalent to, or if we just print them directly, let us print them directly. Let us say percentage d is the roll number. Fine. So this is the roll number, and after roll number let there a backslash t. Fine. So after roll number we have backslash t, then percentage s, display the string, then again a percentage t, a tab, then percentage f for this thing. Done. So three things will be displayed. What are those three things? One will be s of I dot roll number, comma, s of I dot name, comma, s of I dot marks. So all these three things will be displayed. Fine. To do some formatting, you can write here print f like this, backslash n. Fine. And this is done. So these three things will be displayed by the loop, and for first roll number, then for second, for third, we can again do some formatting here by pressing a backslash n here. Fine. So it will do the job. Let us save this program, and let us call it arrst.c. Fine. Compile it. It is saying okay here, remove one this thing. Good. Then compile. Okay, run. So it is asking how many students are in the class. For example, say there are 3 students. Let us say the roll number of his first student, for example, is 1. His name is X, marks 80. Fine. uh, Roll number of second student, let it be 2, name Y, and for example his marks are 40. Third student, roll number 3, for example, name Z, and say his marks are 95.5. Fine. Then press and enter, and we see here that all these values were stored in structures, array of structure, and then that array of structure was printed. And since we had put some backslash t and backslash n, so it took a shape of a tabular shape. So we can see the results have been presented in a very fine way, and all our work has been done. This is the way how we use structures, and we use structures especially when we have this type of problem at hand, that we have a person or an object which has multiple attributes. For example, in this case, this person had three attributes, and then if we have many objects or persons of this type, then we use array of structures.